Good evening. We're going to call our March meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission to order and let the record indicate that all commissioners are present except Commissioner Barras, who is MIA, missing in action somewhere, since nobody's heard from him, but we'll proceed anyway.
Here he is.
I will have the honor of, I will talk slowly so Commissioner Barras can make it up here. That's fine. You can walk fast. That's okay, too. Let me entertain you. When Commissioner Barajas does arrive, if you would all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
That's your bag for conference.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and let the record now reflect that excuse me, all commissioners are present. We'll start with our presentations with a report from our youth group liaison. Come that afterwards.
Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Josh Peters, and it is a pleasure to be here representing for the Lake Forest Advisory Committee for Teens. I am here to give an update for the Parks and Recreation Commission about what our committee has been working on for the past month. This weekend we will be volunteering at Bunny Blast. We will be running the craft station and be helping at egg stations. We have worked on making free masks and crown crafts for this special event because of how successful the masks were at Snowfest. We have also been working on crafts to have at the upcoming Special Needs Fair. We researched possible special needs crafts, and we will be doing 2 different crafts at the Special Needs Fair: spring bookmarks and tassels and sensory balloons. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. And I would like to personally, and on behalf of the entire commission, thank the entire group for your involvement, your presence. And it seems that every monthly meeting the group gets a little bit bigger, which is great. We do like having an audience. It's kind of a neat thing to have. Okay. I inadvertently skipped over public comments. Do we have any requests for public comment?
I have none at this time.
Thank you very much. In that case, we can move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes. Presume everybody has taken a look at them. Any corrections, additions, deletions?
Go ahead.
Motion to approve, then?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. And let's vote.
Oh. Yes. See? Ta-da.
Passed unanimously. Wow. Okay, our next item is a discussion item are the excuse me, program disciplinary policies. Mr. Director?
Thank you, Chair Rosenberg. This is an item we wanted to put on for the Commission just to sort of let you know about something about the direction of the Department. Over the last, I would guess, 5-6 years, since long before I got here, I think the Department's been transitioning from sort of informal, kind of folksy department to something that's a little bit more formalized. Our attendance is up, our programming is up. One of the things we've had to do is to come up with some disciplinary policies to address difficult behavior in some of our programs. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Recreation Manager Vicki Blevin for the report.
Chair and Commissioners, a little background on this is, as Scott was saying, our programs have grown, our department has grown, and as we've grown, we've wanted to come up with some standards for acceptable behaviors that create positive recreation experiences. So the attachment you see here is the one that we're utilizing at the ND Skate Park of Lake Forest. And the other disciplinary policies that we have been working on are for our teen program, for our seniors program, and for special events as well. And basically, these are ways that we can work within guidelines to accommodate all the different populations that we work with, make activities positive for everybody that's involved in them. We work with the teens and at the skate park in particular for any kids that are under the age of 18. The parents are a big part of this disciplinary policy, and as you can see, we have different ways of working with them, whether it be a verbal discussion that can lead then to a written, some sort of a written discussion, and lastly, the last thing we really want to do is tell a participant that they cannot come back to a program. So these are guidelines that we've come up with to be able to do that. Now, in the case of our senior programs, you may think this is kind of interesting, but with teens and younger kids, you're obviously involving the parents in those. With our senior programs, many times we're involving caregivers and the seniors' children in the conversations that we're having. The seniors' children become caregivers, so we need to bring them in sometimes as we go through this process of hopefully being able to have that participant still stay within our program, but also give them some guidelines for positive behavior that is effective for everybody involved, not just for the person that is a participant, but also for the people who are at our events and programs. And so moving forward, we're looking not just with the disciplinary policy, but with other items we're coming up with to be able to format our department in a way that is enabling us to have the best level of participation, the most acceptable behavior, and also to be able to move positively forward. And you'll see that with this, and we talked to you a couple months ago about our evaluation process that we're coming up with too. So just formalizing what we're working on moving forward with all of our programs. That's my report. It's pretty self-explanatory when you look at the policy itself, but I'd be very happy to answer any questions for you if you have any of those in regards to this information.
Thank you, Vicki. Any comments or questions? Or Sure?
I have a few
Okay,
clarifications.
go ahead.
What has been the frequency on certain behavioral issues that you've seen that has caused you to more formalize these procedures rather than the way you've been operating?
Well, for instance, we can look at all gamuts of our programs. So if we look at the skate park, I can tell you in my 10, 11 years of managing that particular facility, there's been a handful of times that I can count on that we've had a discussion where it's come to the point of somebody not being able to come back to the park. So you're looking at 60,000 visits a year, and you're looking at maybe 5 or 6 times where we've told somebody you're not allowed to come back here, basically being banned. Normally what we start out with is a conversation with that particular person and their parent if it's somebody under the age of 18, and the parents more likely than not want to have that child be able to come back to the facility. So they're going to do what they can from their side to make sure that occurs. So we've had a couple kids who've been banned for 6 months. Then the next one would be you come back, and then we try again. But we've never had somebody that we've said you can never come back to the facility. In regards to the seniors programs, it's normally a situation where you're working with a senior who's now become on the border of Alzheimer's, may need to come back with a caregiver, and I think there's one instance where we banned a senior that did not have Alzheimer's, that was made it very unpleasant for the staff as well as the people that were at that program. In regards to the teen programs, when I supervised the teen programs, I think we had more on the line of discussions with parents than we went to the you're not allowed to come back. I think there was 2 instances where we had somebody suspended for a week at a time, and that usually solves the problem fairly quickly. Once again, these are not formalized to exclude people. they're formalized so that in the case that we need to have some disciplinary policy or procedures going on, that participant is not disrupting the program for the rest of the people who are there or the rest of the parents who are there, that want their child to have a positive experience.
It would seem to me that if you have issues, majority of issues will fall into the level 1 category.
Yes. Majority of the ones are just, it ends up being a discussion.
Right. And what I like about the way this was written up is you allowed enough flexibility, because every situation would be different, whether or not it may result in immediate expulsion, which suggests there's going to be a judgment call based on the situation.
Now, obviously, if it's a high level of risk, risky activity that they're doing that we feel no, this is immediate, they need to be off-site now, we would take that into hand. And that would involve not only the parents, but that would also involve the sheriff if we felt that it was at that level.
So when you have a serious incident, is it standard protocol to notify the authorities? Let's say it's a level 2 or level 3.
It's dependent on what is occurring in that time.
So that would be, again, a judgment call.
Judgment call.
Who makes that judgment call, whether or not the
normally, the supervisor would call myself. If it's something that I'm questionable about or Rob was questionable about, then we would get Scott involved. But with our years of experience, we usually can tell by, this is a level, you're thinking it's a level 2. We're telling you, no, this is a level 3. This needs to be solved right now.
So they will consult with you first before?
Not on a level 1, but normally
on
level
2s and
yeah.
level 3s.
But in a level 1, they do need to do an incident report. The incident reports are kept on file so that in the future, we need to have some discussion with a parent. We can go back and say, this has occurred, this has occurred. The parents are always kept in the loop if it's a minor. There's not normally a time period where we would have a discussion with a minor without the parent knowing about it.
But level 3 looks like it's rather serious, so would it be an automatic notification of the authorities, given the seriousness of the violation?
It depends on the circumstance.
So it's going to depend on the situation, obviously.
Yes. And I can think of maybe twice where that's occurred at the skate park. Once where that would have occurred with the teen program, not normally with the seniors program, except for the fact that if we feel that senior is or the caregiver for that senior is on the level of adult abuse of some type, that's the discussion that we have.
I'm just going back to my experience. We had similar guidelines in the parks when I came up through the parks, but they also use warnings. For example, if they give a warning and it happens again on the second time, it's more severe. But I didn't see any provision for any warnings given.
There's lots. The normal warning would be a verbal warning, not a written
warning. It would
warning.
be a verbal?
Yes, and
okay,
even a
I didn't
verbal
see
warning,
that in level 1, for example.
Even a verbal warning would be, a verbal warning.
Is it in the documentation?
PDPs include verbal warnings, written warnings, immediately to suspension.
All right.
Yeah.
But even a verbal warning would be documented. And normally, if there's a verbal warning, in particular for teen programs and for senior programs, there's a discussion between staff and their supervisor about that occurring. And there's usually some guidance given from the supervisor with the information that is given to them by the staff person who's given that verbal warning.
Very good, thank you.
Mr. Workmaster? Sure.
And I guess I'm not clear, it's not unusual. Is this, has this already been implemented at the skate park, what I'm looking at right here? Okay.
One of the skate park has already been implemented.
Okay.
We implemented that a year and a half ago.
Okay.
We definitely had verbal, there were guidelines that we were using, but there was nothing in writing that was formalized like this. So let's say you're at a level 2. You've already had a level 1 and now you're at a level 2. The participant and that participant's parents, if they're a minor, will be given this information within the meeting context to let them know, okay, this is where this can escalate to.
Okay.
This is how this is formalized. And usually at a level 2 meeting, because the level 2 meetings are done here at City Hall, that parent is pretty much like, this is not going in the path I want it to go. So, yeah, this is formalized. The ones that are for the seniors and the special events, those are being finalized now. It needs to go through the city manager for final approval. The ones that we use for the teens, those have been pretty formalized from the, I'd say about middle of the program beginning. When we started getting a lot of kids, we realized, okay, we have to have something that we can work with here.
Okay.
And the parents sign the one for the teen when they sign that packet, and the teens initial that one as well, knowing this is what my behavior needs to be.
So that leads into, I have two other quick questions.
Yes.
When you implement a policy like this, I'm assuming that that legal has looked
Yes.
at this? Okay. I just want to make sure we did that. And then one thing that might be beneficial, when a kid signs up, say he gets his card at the skate park, do we have what we used to call, I worked in a hospital for kids years ago, we used to have contracts, right?
Yes.
And so it was rules, and so they signed
Yes.
off on it. So do we do
Yes.
that, is that correct?
So basically what happens when they sign up at the skate park, and they have to, mind you, they have to sign that, the parent needs to sign the waiver every year. So the parent is signing a waiver that is not only a liability waiver, but it also has the rules of the park as part of what they're signing. The kids are supposed to initial that as well.
Okay.
So if the parent comes back to you and says, I don't remember signing this, here's your signature.
Right.
Whether or not you read what's up here, that's the first part of that discipline, is saying you signed agreeing that you knew this was where this could go to.
Is it reasonable, maybe I'm overstating it, since the kids are initialing it, can we just have them sign it? I know most kids don't even know how to sign their name.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely can sign it.
But, writing
yeah.
cursive and all, I mean, the kids
Yeah.
don't write anymore, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, and
I know,
so.
it's sad, though. I mean, that's sad that they don't, that
Yeah,
they're
no.
losing that art form. But yes, definitely, they can definitely sign it.
But
So,
I think it helps when the kids behave and said, hey, you signed these rules.
Right.
You know, and so, okay, that's great. Those are my questions. Sounds like you got it covered. It looks good. I like this a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vice Chair Hearn?
Thank you. Thank you. I think staff did a very thorough, this project was very well done. Vaping, is that considered tobacco use, or do we even cover that anywhere?
Oh, vaping?
Yeah, vaping. Oh, okay, all right. I didn't know if that needed to be,
Like an illegal activity.
yeah, I don't know if that was spelled out anywhere, or what our policy.
It would still be considered a violation of the law,
Okay,
which
all
makes
right.
it a violation of a facility rule.
Okay, that was the one thing that kind of popped out, like, oh, where does that fall into? But in that, I think you guys did a good job. Thank you.
Commissioner Barras?
No comments or questions. Good job.
Okay, a couple of questions and comments on this. What I'm looking at and read through is entitled the Administrative Policy for Etne Skate Park. Does there exist a document for the sports park, for the senior program, for other types of programs?
So for the teen program, that one exists. The seniors and special events is the one that's still being finalized, going through BB&K process and being finalized with the city manager needs to sign off on that still.
Okay, will we get a chance to
Yes.
look at that too when that comes?
Yeah, when that's finalized,
Okay.
you definitely will get a chance.
First
to
of
do that.
all, I
You can bring
think the
it back.
concept is excellent because we've gotten, in a sense, too big to do it kind of on the QT of, okay, we'll talk to you, we'll do something, but there's nothing, behind it. In looking at the spectrum of programs and people we deal with, we have three, in my humble opinion, basic groups. One that's the 0 to 18, one that goes from 18 plus 1 day when they're emancipated until they hit, and that may depend, call it a senior status where you typically could have some issues. The 18 and 1 day to until you hit that negative side of the senior process is pretty easy because you're always wrong, okay? And you stand on your own 2 feet. 0 to 18, and as you said, caregivers and family and other things that exist when people do get to that age bracket, there is always somebody that is standing up with them, next to them, in front of them that you have to kind of go through that is saying you're wrong. So that my kid, my aged mom, my aged dad, grandfather, whatever, is not. And I think that we need to kind of take that into consideration. I don't care if we only have one incident a year, that we're to a point of not making this a big mountain when it's really a molehill, but to also put something in all of the processes of what you've described. The process is that the supervisor may talk to him level 1, there is a report filed, it is kept, that it isn't, well, now you suddenly my kid's in here on a level 2 or level 3, or my you want to throw my grandmother out of the senior program.
Yeah, we're fortunate that staff in general, not just with the 18 and younger, but the 50 and older, that staff has reaches out very quickly when we see the path or something maybe going down.
Right. No, I understand all that, and I know, because that program is phenomenal, and the relationship between the staff and the attendees is marvelous as well. But again, I think the program should, or the policy should include in there something to the effect of how this works.
Oh, okay.
That the initial contact may be by a supervisor, a report is then filed and kept. If it has to be escalated, that it isn't just at the skate park a 21-year-old coordinator, let's say.
I see what you're saying. Like
But
which
that it
level
goes
of a person
supervisor
would,
to a manager,
right.
who then will interview and interface, with kid and parents, or person with caregiver or whatever is needed, just from the standpoint that people don't come back and say, well, this is all arbitrary. I didn't like my kid or didn't like my grandmother, you did this, and then, how are you qualified, to do this? Well, maybe a little bit difference between a manager with decade-plus experience in doing these kind of things, as opposed to a coordinator. Just to put in as much, I don't want to even use that word protection, but as much of a Kevlar shield around it, for everybody. But I think conceptually, the policy and having it is excellent. I would look forward to seeing the, future renditions of not only this, but for the other programs. We're the point where, especially with that sports park, and then there's things that happen there and have been happening, and if they can be, traced to an individual or group of individuals, well, then there should be a corrective action that's taken.
The other one, when we talk about the sports park, would be definitely for the adult sports programs, and for the open basketball, open volleyball, open, that is one.
That one is already written as well?
No, that's one
That's
that
okay.
being finalized, and those ones, in particular, I would like to see posted.
Oh, yeah, they all should.
I mean, some format of it posted. Obviously, we're not going to post the whole process, but some,
Right.
where
Or
this
a
is
direction to it, like
Yeah.
it can be found at this link.
Exactly.
Because
Right.
everybody is, with a handheld device or whatever, can access it that way, too.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, I think these are great, and I think it's, a good time for it. And again, as they're done, if you could bring them before us, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for the idea on putting in the coordinator to manager escalation. That I think
Yeah.
that's critical as well. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, we'll receive and file. And move right back to Vicki for the recreation report.
So for February, our recreation report highlights include the special needs Mardi Gras dance, and I'm also going to link that to the Mardi Gras Let the Good Times Roll party for the seniors. So what was really nice about these two events is that the seniors worked closely with our coordinator who works on our special needs dance, and so we were able to utilize our decorations 2 nights in a row, and was told that the special needs in particular really loved the fact that we had some extra decorations up for them. So the special needs dance was February 13th. We had a record amount, 110 participants at this particular one, so that program is definitely growing, which is really nice. The highlight of the night was dancing, as always, but also the photo booth. They always love the photo booth to take pictures. And we have a great DJ who really has worked with them and has hats and props and has a camera who takes pictures for them, so that's really great. And again, we had our Marines that were there to help with the dancing and hanging out with the guests. For the Mardi Gras event for the seniors, we had our great Marines that were there. The seniors really look forward to that dance, and the staff has started the tradition of queening one of the staff who never knows who's going to be the Mardi Gras queen, and this year it was Pam, who's been with us for quite some time. She was very surprised and had a great time as well. And we have another great DJ who gives away lots of items to the seniors that night, and that's always a fun one. The other two highlights for the month of February were the Kids Night Out. That program you can see is really growing. It's a Friday night. Parents are able to drop off their teens there. This last one, they had 28 kids, which I think is another all-time high. Parents are starting to realize this is a great program, inexpensive. The kids get to have dinner and use the facility, so that's always a good thing, good combination. And then the last highlight was the Thursday luncheon. We celebrated the 25th anniversary of the city at our Thursday luncheon. We had a cake, and we gave away 5 gift cards that were $25 each. And so we give away gift cards, but they're normally like $5 or $10, so the $25 ones were a big, big, big hit. That's my report for the month of February, except for one more thing. We hope to see you on Saturday for the Bunny Blast. And then also Special Needs Resource Fair. It's coming up on April 9th.
And one additional item, if anyone is interested, there's another Civic Center planning workshop at 10 o'clock here at City Hall, if anyone's interested.
On Saturday.
On Saturday,
Yes.
right.
Bad timing.
It's right before
No.
the Bunny
You're gonna
Blast,
be
exactly.
Chained to a table at Bunny Blast.
And that's my report for February. And once again, I'll be very happy to answer any questions you have them on this report. Thank you.
Any comments, questions?
I want to say, this is so funny. I went to all these events. I know, really. Yeah, you have me in the 25th one. But yeah, I did go to all these, and everybody always has such a good time. They really, really do, and they're so appreciative. Of course, I'm appreciative of everything. So yeah, and so looking forward to that. I have a question. The Pet Expo that's coming up, is that part of our Pet Day?
No.
No.
Totally separate. That's
Okay.
actually organized by Supervisor Bartlett.
Okay.
Right. That's Saturday, March 26th from 12 to 3
12 to 3. Okay,
at
thank
the
you.
Sports Park.
All right, but anyway, yeah, I thought it was a great report. Thank you.
And just a quick comment that, like Loretta, I was at every one of these as well. I can give the commissioner comment part right now. Attended everything that you have in your report, and again, echoing her comments, phenomenal events. As you said, the kids and adults who came to the special needs dance had a much more festive atmosphere, with the wall decorations being left up, and I know they enjoyed it. Just something that I kind of stumbled on, besides the photo booth being great, that was a great addition, because they have their pictures taken. It's like a live memento, but there were, I want to say 3 that I wound up kind of cornering, attendees at the special needs dance who, all 3 of them, for most of the evening, were glued to one or some of the Marines. And finally, towards the end of it, I asked them if they would like to have a picture taken with the one they were glued to, or a couple of them or something, and they all did. Wound up taking some pictures and then got their email addresses either through Marilyn or their guardian or caregiver, and emailed them to them. And they loved that. So I'm thinking maybe, if to some extent, and I'll talk to Marilyn too, we can somehow expand that. I mean, I don't mind doing it, and we usually will be here for all of them, for those. But I think it's, maybe to let them know, because we're pretty sure we'll have Marines, to let them know, have your picture taken with Marine, something like that, as something else to promote the dance, and it definitely does not go in the budget anywhere. So that's kind of a win-win always, right? Yes. But, yeah, again, and Bunny Blast, hopefully with everything that is being planned, the largest band, the largest this, and, it should be a very, very good event, and I would encourage everybody else sitting up here and everybody else in the audience to come as well, to attend, because it's, get there early, or you will walk before you park. Or before you get there, you'll walk from where you park, because it is a very, very popular event. Again, thank you. Another great month. All right, this is going to be a whiz-bang tonight. Director's report. Director Wasserman.
Thank you, Chair Rosenberg. I just have one update on an item that came before the Commission last fall, and it was the fees item. And at the time, I was taking that to the Parks and Recreation Commission. We got your feedback on the fees. I agendized it for the City Council, and it was pulled. And the plan originally was figure out how to do a more comprehensive fee study. Usually, in a lot of cities, what they'll do is they'll hire a consultant. They'll do a comprehensive fee study. It looks at the fees in all departments. So the public works fees, the library fees, if there's a library department, the planning fees, the parks and recreation fees, everything at the same time. Ultimately, they opted not to do that, and that decision was made early this year. And I was getting ready to bring this back to the City Council, but now I have an opportunity to bring it back to the Commission in April to add one fee that was requested by this Commission, which is a fee for local businesses to use the meeting rooms at the sports park. We don't currently have that fee, and without the fee, we can't allow it. So I'll be bringing that back in April. It'll be very simple. We'll research what other cities charge local businesses to use their meeting rooms. We'll recommend a fee that makes sense, and we'll take your recommendation. That'll be the April meeting, and then due to the posting requirements, we have to post this 2 weeks in advance. I probably won't be able to agendize this until the last week in May, which I think is May 17th for that council meeting. That means that the fees would actually go into effect 60 days later, which would put it into July. But that works out just perfectly for the new fiscal year. If council approves everything, then we would have all those new fees, which would include the open gym fee, fees for adult basketball and volleyball. I was asked not to renew the tournament fee at this time, so we have a tournament fee, so we're going to leave that one as is. I was asked not to touch that one just because in the absence of a really thorough cost analysis and fee study, we're only bringing fees for new services. So citywide, we're not really bringing old fees back, revisiting those with the City Council. We will have the opportunity to do that in the coming years. I'm guessing the next year or two. The city will probably hire a consultant and go down that road. But that's the update with respect to the fees. California Parks and Recreation Conference, I'm sure that some of you were going to mention that in your comments, but we received 2 awards. One was received by our Senior Recreation Supervisor, Ron Rivera, and that was for the Dino Days event, one of our amazing events. I know that our Commissioner Herron is going to discuss that. And then we also, our Vice Chair Herron is going to discuss that. And we also received an award as a department for the design for the sports park. And that's obviously very prestigious. That is not the first award that we've won for the sports park. That's one of several that we've won. So it was a good day for Lake Forest. Good year. And that concludes my report.
Can I ask you a quick question? On the when you bring back the fees for local businesses, do we allow, and I should probably know this and I don't, do we allow Little League or AYSO to conduct their board meetings? Do we have a policy for them to do that? Because I know before they were everywhere. So
yeah, so we do have a policy that allows that. I'm actually going to bring the policy. I might be bringing the policy back with the fee because we might need to revise the policy to include local businesses.
Right.
But we allow the sports nonprofits to meet.
And I'm not interested in charging those groups. I'm just interested in making sure it's written in the policy so they have that availability. But we can talk about that. But I just wanted to make sure that was a part of what. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, if you look at, typically you'll find it in the recreation report, because I know AYSO has their board meetings here and uses that it's in there, and I don't know what specific Little League is. I have a question regarding the fees, because it does seem like a while back that we went through it. And the question relates to, we're going to do what with the tournament fees? I wasn't clear on that with the sports.
So there were two fees that we brought to the commission for your recommendation, where
Right.
you recommended new fees. One was the tournament fee. We already have a tournament fee, which we have one fee for baseball. I think we have another one for basketball. Basketball, I think, is $300 a court for all day. Mm-hmm. I think for baseball or soccer, for any field, basically, it's $200 a day. We're leaving that one as is. We're not going to adjust that. The second fee that we're not adjusting that I brought to the commission pertained to the skate park, and that's what we call the tourist fee.
Right.
And that was for folks that come in. They may come from far away. Just for a
once in
single
a blue
day.
moon.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only reason we're not doing that is that we were citywide, so this includes Public Works also. Existing fees, we're going to leave those as is for now. We're only bringing to the City Council new fees that we're recommending. And part of the reasoning is just that we would feel more comfortable if we had a fee study that really justifies the costs, because we're not really allowed to charge more than what the cost of providing a program is. So while we are able to calculate that for things like tournaments, we know what it costs per day to maintain a field or to maintain the gymnasium, or what the lighting costs and utilities. There's a more thorough study that can actually be done for the process. And the example would be if someone turns in a request for a tournament, perhaps Carol takes it in, and then Bill Barry looks at it and he studies it, and then it goes to Ron and it goes up the chain. There's actually a method where they can calculate what all of that costs administratively, but that's really beyond staff's expertise.
Well, when we, and correct me if I'm wrong or misremembering, I thought when we went through that, we had the cost delineated.
We did.
Field per day, or the use of the gym, to include like lights and the maintenance component, and...
We did, and the item was pulled because we didn't have a really thorough, the concern was that we didn't have a thorough enough cost analysis.
From our own costing, or from
Both.
the comparative world?
Both. The comparative world, so what other cities do when they bring fees forward, and also for other departments, the fees for the planning department, the fees for public works. So they were bringing fees that were based basically on a market study. This is what other cities charge, this is what we should charge. In many cases, it really couldn't be substantiated that it was grounded in the actual cost of providing the services. I think in recreation, for the most part, it was a little bit easy for us to do that. Since we brought this to you, we actually did a little more work on that. I think what we have now is a little more solid, probably, than what we brought you. That's what we were asked to work on.
Okay.
But at the time, they delayed it because they thought they were going to do a more thorough study with a consultant.
Okay, and then the other question, I think, with the tournaments, I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, that we started out with, what do we have, like a resident fee and we consolidated that into a single fee.
We studied that, and you're correct, and the commission elected not to have separate fees for
Correct.
residents and non-residents. That's pretty much what we have now.
And that's going to stay?
That's going to stay.
Okay,
correct.
when you're talking about, okay, so basically, most of what we agreed on is going to stay. We're doing some additions to it.
That's exactly right. So
Okay.
we're taking forward your recommendations for the fees for open gym, adult basketball, and adult volleyball. Those will go to the city council.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Apologize for the confusion.
No, it's me. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. I look that way. Oh, okay. We will move to commissioner comments at this point. Not you. Okay. You're back. Commissioner Scher?
Thank you. More recently, noontime today was a very nice St. Patrick's Day lunch. Congrats to the staff. I understand there was a new caterer that came into the picture, but the caterer did a fantastic job. My wife and I really enjoyed it. We got our green stuff out of the closet, and all the doodads go with it. So this has been over the 3.5 years or 3 years plus I've been with the commission. The events that are executed are so consistent in the quality, and you have such a great staff that pulls this thing off. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the future, particularly when we get our new civic center. That'd be exciting. I'm assuming in the next couple 3 years, whatever. 2018. I don't know if I can wait that long. Inasmuch as I have a confession to make, I am not 100% attendance. Sorry. I mean, I don't think I can reach that standard, at least at the present time. But I do make efforts to participate. I was part of the contingent that went to in Long Beach to get the awards that were presented, particularly to Ron Rivera and staff for the great job they did and recognizing their achievements. So yes, there's a lot to be very proud of in what we're doing within the city, and I've always had the philosophy to accent the positives. Nothing's perfect. I mean, we always can find ways of improving what we're doing, but to continue to focus on the positives, and I think it's a very positive environment here within the city, and will continue to be so. Most of my volunteer time is spent over at the Heritage Hill Historical Park, where I'm very much active, part of the docent tours, with the children's tours, and it's such a diamond in the rough, if you would. It kind of sits back from the main street, and people learn about it when they go to the Bagels and Brew on Lake Forest Drive in Serrano. So, yes, it probably, if we had a neon sign maybe and whatever, but people do learn about it, and there's 4 buildings on the site, so I always try to promote the fact that if you haven't had the opportunity, please go. There's guided tours, there's activities for everyone, particularly during the holiday season and certain parts of the year where we have fiestas, we have all sorts of events. So stop by and pick up a schedule of all the events that's available to all age groups. So as we go into the spring, I bet you groups sitting out in the audience, you know school's coming to a close, and the summer is just around the corner. I've always got excited when I was in high school and junior high about the spring, summer. Am I correct in saying you're getting all excited? Oh, yes, of course.
Not over yet.
So please attend as many of these meetings as you can. We welcome your attendance and participation, and maybe you might want to make Parks and Recreation as a profession, as I did. There's excellent degree programs in Parks and Recreation. I graduated Arizona State, but I know Long Beach has got one. I think a number of colleges in the area. Thank you.
Commissioner Workmeister.
First off, and I want to thank the kids from ACT coming out. It's always great to see you guys. Although I know a couple of you Serrano kids have finals, right? Yeah. Okay. So.
That didn't sound very positive.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It wasn't positive at my house either. So, real quick, I want to say for the record that I think the sports park that we built is an excellent addition to the city. And anybody that says differently, I would adamantly disagree with them. And it bothers me when I hear that, because it was a well thought out plan. A lot of people, especially in this room, put a lot into it, and I want to thank them. And again, I can't say it enough. It's an excellent addition to the city. I have one question on workshop attendance for us as commissioners. I was advised about a year ago that when it's a project that we'll be reviewing, not to attend the workshops. I just want clarification. Are we supposed to go, not supposed to go? Because the Civic Center workshop is a good topic, right?
The Civic Center workshop, I think you can attend because it's not something that's going to come before the commission. Other workshops, like the park planning workshops, where a decision will come before the commission, generally you would be advised not to attend those.
Okay. No, I was given that advice, and it's always awkward because I'm like, do I go, do I not go? And I want to make sure I don't want to do anything that will anyway, okay, and just, good gracious, so many great events. I had terrible attendance this last month. I've got some work issues going on right now. We're doing another purchase, if you will, and so
Again.
yeah, 3 years in a row now. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, fantastic job by the staff. Everything is just going so well, and these guys are a great example of that out in the audience. I mean, look at the positive response we're getting. It makes me happy. I'm so glad you guys came. I really do appreciate it a lot. And so, and our pickleball people, I'm so happy that you guys come, because sometimes it's just you. And so, it might not be bad. I was asked the question, maybe get an update on Portola Park. I know we're a bit of a ways out, but
We are going through the RFP process, the request for proposal process, to select someone to do the final design. And we received 4 proposals. It looks like we'll be interviewing 3 of those. Essentially, we're in the middle of the process. So we have the interviews next week. The second meeting in April, I would expect to bring something to the city council to award the contract.
okay, great. And finally, just, I don't know if it's a holiday, but happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. I hope you guys, I don't see a lot of green out there, so I'm a little disappointed about that. So, but, well, they did. But anyway, thank you. That's all I have tonight.
Commissioner Barajas.
Yeah, I'm excited to go to my first bunny blast this Saturday, so I'll have something to report on next month. I'm also excited about the upcoming Special Needs Resource Fair. I know you mentioned it, but I'm going to keep mentioning it until it happens, because we're really excited about it. And again, and then also I had the major faux pas of emailing Scott while City Hall was closed, and I felt so bad that you responded so quickly, and that's just amazing to me. So thank you guys again, just being so on top of everything and caring.
That was a while ago. I forget, but I usually get emails.
Oh, you can. Yeah.
Commissioners are priority 1.
As we should be. All right, thank you. That's everything.
Thanks. Vice Chair Herron.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to thank everybody in the audience for coming. It's always nice to have a full house, pretty much. I did attend CPRS, which is the California Parks and Recreation Society Conference in Long Beach. They have different classes, I guess. So I went to the signature special event one, which our own Ron Rivera taught, and he talked about Dino Days. Another one I went to was Alleviating Senior Loneliness. I didn't realize they said 10,000 people per day over the age of 65 are retiring, like every day. That's a lot of people. Yeah. So that's our baby boomers. I also went to Top 10 Ways to Have Politics Work for You. That's always an interesting topic. Social media marketing, I went to that class. Do we have a social media policy? Oh, good. See, we're ahead of the game. But I was so impressed with the people that did social media. They even give you a glossary of the social media terms for those of us that need some help in that area. So I thought it was a very well done class.
Excuse me, can you provide a copy to Carol, then she can distribute?
Of this one? Sure.
Of the terminologies.
Okay. Oh, just that page? Sure.
Yeah, I think that would be of interest to me. I can't speak for everyone else.
Okay, yeah, sure, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah, because it was very interesting, just a lot I didn't know. I also went to Drought and Public Landscapes. I was not aware of how, well, obviously the drought is affecting our trees, but the gal that was from L.A. counting, how many trees she's having to cut down because of the drought. They're just not surviving. And then I went to Parks and Rec Master Plan. And then, of course, our big exciting news, of course, Scott mentioned our awards, but this is the one from California Association of Park and Recreation Commissioners and Board Members. That's a mouthful. This is our one that we received for Dino Days. This is a hand-carved turtle from China berry wood. And everybody that receives these awards gets a unique hand-carved award. So it's kind of cool. I don't know if you want to. Yeah, so that was really fun to go to that. And of course, I attended the St. Patty Days senior luncheon today. I got to serve the mustard.
Yeah.
So I'm an official mustard scooper. But I'm looking forward to Bunny. We're going to have a busy day, busy tomorrow and Saturday, because we've got leadership lunch. we've got the Jim Sachs Award nominations, and we have Bunny Blast, the Civic Center workshop, etc. So I will be busy. We all will be busy. But anyway, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I'm going to start with the most recent first. We have Bunny Blast tomorrow.
I know, I'll be
Thank
there.
you. Okay. There are some other activities going on at the same time, but Bunny Blast is the big deal. Okay? I'll have you crying before you go home. Don't worry. You'll be so sad that you might miss a moment of it. And as Loretta said, we've got our leadership luncheon tomorrow and the reviewing of nominees for the Senior Volunteer Award, which is a very, very nice program. Not going to comment too much on, as I said, attending everything before, but there have been, when you look at the calendar, a tremendous amount of activities that are going on, but I do not have the heart to say, could you guys please slow down? That there may be a day or two where there isn't something. And the main reason, from a personal standpoint, is to want to go to them is the quality. The quality of the events and the amount of work and preparation that's done is really, really something we as a city should be very, very proud of. And, I think that from a staff standpoint, I don't think you hear it enough. And I think, part of what we need to do is, be honest brokers, obviously, but you guys do a great job. And the people in the city should be very, very pleased with the programs that are being put on for them. A couple of just other small items to add. Everybody has different schedules. Everybody has other things on their plate and other priorities and things going on. But I would like maybe this year for us to give some thought as a group of people that have made a commitment to serving, to tax our own gray matter with maybe some ideas we can present to staff or things that we can come up with or things that we have heard about, maybe somebody else is doing, and look into them and see if it's worth us doing, and maybe take a little bit of the I don't want to use the word creative load off staff because that's never going to happen, but to be a little bit more maybe contributory to the process that goes on with the, as I call it, quality of life programs that we have here in the city. And I think that's a very important thing of what we do, and sometimes I think to some extent we overlook it. And again, in relation to that, Loretta and I both attended a nonprofit organization's event this last Saturday at the sports park. It's a great idea. It's a great cause that they're working for. Yeah, I got a little cool, but the event kind of fell down. And I think I can put a couple of fingers on maybe some of the reasons, but I'm wondering, is that something that maybe we can use the resources, maybe for a half an hour, a meeting or something, to put those people together with, and it's a group that's in the city. I mean, it's not somebody that just rented the sports park or whatever, and to get a little bit of the expertise in putting on an event that, having been affiliated with it for a while, I don't think they have that expertise. And that's kind of a question.
I think it depends what we're talking about. So there may be ways, I think informally, we can help them improve their events. It would be difficult. The city can't really sponsor the event.
No, I'm not looking. That wasn't
Okay.
going that alley. It was just to sit down and
help
cup of
help them out.
coffee and
We can usually do something like help them look at what they have planned and make suggestions on marketing or how to get more people, and
yeah. Okay.
we can usually do something like that.
Another way of saying it is more consulting with them to offer.
We can't. The reason I'm tiptoeing around this is I don't want to
fine
avail
line.
city staff to every
Yeah.
nonprofit
Right, no,
wants
it's
to
a
use
fine
their
line.
space.
Yeah.
To have particularly if it's a fundraiser, but usually we can provide some kind of informal assistance, yeah, and help them out with something.
For the future.
Yeah, usually
Yeah.
we can do
I
something.
mean, I
And
understand.
one of the ideas is typically, if you have the event on Saturday, you can't start planning on Thursday. You know,
That's a good rule of thumb, yeah.
But even though they're independent, it does reflect, there is a reflection of the quality, you know, we want to make sure that hopefully it's executed.
Well, if it's someone else's event, we can't be responsible for the quality.
Well, I understand we can't be accountable and responsible, but.
Well,
we can do
Victor,
some
let me
influence.
cut you off at the pass here. Again, it has to be two-way street. It's not that we stand there, you know, saying that before you do this, come to us and make it part of the procedure, but they have to be open to it as well, of understanding that, you know, there's a resource, if it works, cup of coffee, get some ideas.
That's exactly
And that's
right.
it.
That's exactly
Go-
right.
Go no further than doing that as
Duly noted.
a process. The other item that I would like to, and we have spoken about it, it has something to do with health and cities, and that to, as the time progresses, to get that back on the agenda. I would appreciate that.
It is scheduled for April?
Very cool.
Great.
Cool, great. I do appreciate that. And there's one other thing, and I didn't write it down, and it's like too many days of like forgetting to sleep. Okay, now having thought about it, again, thanks to the teen group. Do come back next month. I just remembered what the item was by saying that. I think this is great to get that feedback from the teens. I think, again, and hopefully it's something we can have some discussion on, that we can, to some extent, within reason, expand, number one, their role and their visibility. I think to a certain point, it's still a well-kept secret that they do exist. Related to that, and I may have been doing something wrong this week, but I understood that one of the projects that the group has is the teen website. Or did I read that? And I could have sworn I took it off the website where it had something about ACT on there.
Right. Sometimes I do update the website, city website, with upcoming meetings for the program. But other than that, we're not specifically in charge of just that. So
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
take care of it along. It's not just ACT. It's all the team programs. So that team camps. And it's also including the team.
Okay, stand corrected then. Then I guess I'll rephrase the question. Is there a teen website?
Yes, there is. There's one that talks specifically about the teen programs. It's not in the same context as what we used to have, though.
Okay.
That's, I think, what you were thinking about.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm thinking about.
It's not in the same context as that.
Okay.
If I may, so it's
Please.
worth noting, with respect to all the technology that we use, since the sports park opened, we've increased by about, we just figured this out for budgetary purposes, 54%. So where we used to have about 5 websites, we now have, I think, 6. It's websites, we have different platforms, and I bring this up because I'm trying to address this through the budget where we can get some more hours to keep up with all of that. Because it's to become, cumbersome is not the right word, but it's very time-consuming.
Yeah.
But very, very important for marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because again, I was thinking that the lack of the quote, I don't want to say standalone, could be part of it, but I understand the platform is different, but it creates a visibility to that age bracket and community that now does not exist. And that age bracket is, and you folks out there, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, you use electronic media, right? Social media, right? That's one of the ways you communicate. Occasionally you converse, I know that. Like to your teacher when they look at you and snarl, whatever, but, and even, you know, a way to find out things is you just go to what's in your hand and look it up, and I think we're kind of doing them a disservice. The other item that I had forgotten but quickly remembered, and it kind of stopped sometime last year, but we had once a quarter, because of the staggered meetings, a report coming from the Senior Advisory Board, which has somehow, and I would like to hopefully, yes?
Oh, we're just saying it might be
It might be what?
too late in the evening for them.
Let me reiterate the request that we could put it at the first part of the meeting then, if it's, I don't think our meetings run that late, that we could have a member of the senior advisory, and maybe they could rotate it, so they'd have to stay up late, Loretta, once a year.
We wanted, in all honesty, we wanted something new for them to come talk to you about. There are things that they've been working on.
I know.
So now would be the time for them to come back.
Yeah.
In particular, we're looking to do, it probably wouldn't be the next meeting, but maybe the meeting after that, we're looking to do an evaluation of the taxi program, and that would be something that they could come back and talk to you about.
Yeah. But even, the things that
Yeah.
are ongoing, I mean, couldn't make March because of CPRS. It conflicted with the opening session, literally. And, there was a day component to CPRS as well as a night component. From the meetings I've attended, there is a lot on the plate now, and they're segueing through different things, and it just kind of be nice to have that, touch. Besides, we see all the events, and we typically attend them. Today was great on top of, the catering, whoever they had, great caterer to do that for 100-some people with, and that's a tough audience to cook for, too, as far as spicing the food or whatever. But it's, so well done and would give them some visibility as well, which I would love to see. If there are no other further comments, none on my part, I would, at that time, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.